Okay, let's go back in time and start this game over. This time we are going to be looking at the Jhin, VanJones, not the real VanJones, the real enough VanJones, I guess, and what's going on here. And one thing that we've specifically talked about is you wanted to know about positioning. Part of that issue with positioning is going to be related to what we talked about with deep warding and then reacting to that deep warding. So knowing where the Hecarim's coming from. So that's a team issue. And this is one of the things about playing AD carry is that there's only so far that positioning will get you. I am noticing though, if I remember correctly, and we'll see once we get into the lane here, that your positioning based on which shot you're on is a little down. So every time you're at the fourth shot, you need to be pressuring. So you stay in the same spot there. You move up a little bit, but you need to be really pressuring on this fourth shot. And it's better to last hit with the Q while you're on fourth shot to hang on to it for longer. So that was good, hanging on to the fourth shot, but you didn't actually walk up to threaten with it. So we're going to see here again. We're on to fourth shot, and your first move on getting fourth shot should always be to walk up. So, hold on. I want to back up this fight really quickly, because this is actually a kill. Or it could be. So, you're on fourth shot right here. And then let's just go ahead and slow this down a little bit. So, Garrison starts charging this and lands this Q. And then you fourth shot for 223 damage on that. You get the stun here. But if we're looking at MF's health, she gets down into the range where you might be able to kill her. She's got her barrier up, so it may not have been. But you could have at least blown her barrier. And then Maokai flashes out there, so you could have gotten another summoner there. Okay, let's keep on keeping on here, if I can get it to follow you. There we go. Okay, so I think I talked about this in the video with Garrison, but just to reiterate, against a Hecarim, this ward doesn't do a whole lot because he's going to move so quickly. You're also black barring a bunch of minions, and so that's another thing that's just like one of those go and grind out in a couple of like custom games. Make sure you're CSing really well, because the better you CS, the earlier you hit your spikes. And along with some of the stuff that I talked about Garrison to, you guys are super close to a very dominating lane here. Like super close to just actually being able to snowball this lane and crush the whole game. There's just a handful of things, like that placement of the fourth shot and where you're positioning. Plus, if you can be aggressive with your fourth shot, obviously not right here, it's a huge minion wave. If you can be more aggressive with your fourth shot, then that's going to free Garrison up to do a couple of other things here as well. If you are starting a fight that's an all-in, you want to start with 3 shots for the record. So if you're communicating with your support and saying, like, okay, we can go in for a fight here, then you want to start with 3 shots. The annoying thing about this Maokai is he can heal up pretty quickly and is super beefy. So if at all possible, you never want to land anything on him. Basically, you just ignore him entirely and spend it all on the MF. So this is good right here. And the MF burns her flash there. She's still got heal up as well. Let's go back and watch that fight again. Okay, so let's see. Alright. She's flashes. Let's go back one more time and slow it down just a little bit. Okay, so when he starts charging, you're walking in, that's good. You land a fourth shot and the W, that's good. You guys do layer your CC right there, which is not something that you can do a whole lot about, I realize. I would consider at this point maybe flashing forward for that MF, or following the flash up right afterwards. Although this is well done, generally speaking. That was a good fight. Same thing with this ward. That's a fine ward against junglers who are slow, or or a mid laner who's slow. But in both cases, you're going to want that to be deeper, because you don't have time right here to react to this Hecarim. It's a good flash. after the flash though, so MF comes right back. I'm guessing that you're probably waiting on an item here, and that's why you stick around for this. But because you're flashless and you know Hecarim's in the area, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get out. So you buy boots and a dagger. Speed this up a little bit. Another thing to do with that fourth shot, especially if that's a great snare right there. So with that fourth shot, another thing to do is feel free to walk super far up, because if you can get that fourth shot on somebody, then the move speed you get allows you to escape with it. So I feel like be more willing to use your fourth shot as almost like hovering it as just an engage tool almost. You can just walk at somebody, especially if, like in that scenario, the Maokai isn't there. Okay, so you don't have a support and you're backing out. That's smart. Go shop. This is a little bit of mixed timing. So now Garrison is stuck in that lane for a little bit, so syncing your back timings might be a good idea. You could have either gotten the push faster if you've both stayed, or you could be back at the same time if you both backed, so you want to sync those up if possible. And what is MF sitting on? Yeah, she's got that. So bounces are really important to dodge here, obviously. Okay, so when this all happens, and they're going, and there's this big, long, drawn-out fight mid, let's go ahead and back this up and see when we see them going. Okay, so you take that fair little bit of damage, and then MF starts roaming. We see her immediately. Garrison goes, and Maokai leaves as well. You should have followed here. So if you follow here, even though you're on half health, you're up at this fight, and you're part of that kill. And we might even be able to do something, even if you're just ulting from long range while they're under tower. That Maokai's probably dead earlier. She is probably dead as well too. And so because you push a little bit and then back, then the wave ends up in this really kind of unfortunate spot right here, where it's frozen on their side of the map, and then you lose basically a wave and a half right there. And then this large wave that builds up is going to do a bunch of damage to the tower. MF should have kept pushing that as well. But so this didn't turn out too terribly badly because the MF made the mistake of walking away. And she should have pushed that to tower and then been a little bit later. But yeah, that's make sure that you're avoiding leaving a minion or the wave in the bad spot like that, and try to follow if you've got the 2v2 follow, because we had the pinks in that travel path, so you could have made it up there pretty safely. So be willing to follow up there. Okay, not sure. Waiting here for a little bit of support. That's smart. That was the right move. If you're just trying to clear, feel free to drop your E under that back wave, because an E plus a Q will clear it out, so you'll get that push a little bit faster. Good job there. I don't know why she took barrier against Pyke. That makes no sense. But yeah, you can get those minions up a lot faster. Good heal if you have if you use your E for that back wave. It costs a little bit more mana, but you end up throwing fewer Qs overall. So probably net even score there. Is the dragon about to spawn in 7 seconds? Might have been able to go straight to that dragon and take that immediately. On boot selection, it looks like you're building towards. So you all do get the dragon anyway. It looks like you're building towards Berserker Greaves. Consider getting Ninja Tabby in this scenario, or Merc Treads, or a defensive boot, just because if you can survive a little bit and like get one more spell rotation or one more set of 4 auto attacks off, that's worth a lot more than the extra damage you'll get from the Berserker Greaves. Okay, so back off here, which is smart, because you see the Hecarim coming. This is very well done, right here. The 4th shot, the stun, and then the ult. Nice job. And that needs to be the pattern for the rest of the way this goes. So if you look at what happened during this fight down here, when you moved backwards, you basically put someone between yourself and Hecarim. So if we're gonna watch some of these later team fights and what happens, and basically you are moving away from the Hecarim, but it's not you're not putting teammates between you and the Hecarim, which is what you need to be doing to help sort of survive that. But that was a really great defense right there. Even though you lost that tower, super worth it and well done. So now you move up here. Follow, follow, follow. Push, push, push. My very bad call to take this next turret instead of leaving. Okay, let's back this up really quickly. I want to see what happens here. Okay, so the Hecarim gets on you there. Let's see if we could have prevented that at all. So, do we ever see Hecarim? Let's change vision. Do we ever see Hecarim? And I don't think that we actually do in time, probably. Okay, so there we see him right now. Okay, so yeah, this is tough because you picked up aggro right here. So let's see. Let's see when did you pick up aggro exactly? Okay, right there when you you W'd for that kill. If you wanted to, positioning wise, we'll go back towards the beginning here. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, so if you wanted to, positioning wise, because you don't pick up aggro until right there, instead of dodging backwards, and you would have had to have like crazy map awareness to see that Hecarim coming from behind, but you could have moved up into here to avoid that Hecarim. And this is the point where honestly we should have just left, because with you down we needed to get out, because we're not going to take this turret at this point. But yeah, instead of moving back out towards the Hecarim, again, put as many bodies between you and Hecarim as you can. And this is also a team issue, because what we really needed was vision right here. Or right here, so that we could see the Hecarim coming from farther away, and that might have been able to save us the game, basically. So yeah, look at this turret not as something like, once we're that deep into the tower, it's no longer linear. Like, moving out isn't just this way. The shortest path is probably over here, and that also puts you near me and gives you a longer run between that Hecarim. Okay, let's see. When are you respawning? Are you already on the map? You are. Okay, going to farm. So yeah, this was a super lost fight. Let's keep moving back here so we can actually watch it. Okay, so let's start here with you coming in right here. If you can get like a Q on one of these minions to start clearing this out, or drop an E right here, so when the minions get to the tower, that's pretty bad. We don't want the minions to be able to get to the tower if we can help it. So use your ability to keep those off. And then you can see the MF being able to be right here and to move up and start damaging is a direct product of those minions getting to the tower. So use your abilities to clear those out, especially since we're not sitting on a lot of wave clear. your ult is good for initiating fights, and it's good for cleaning up afterwards. But once a fight is already broken, then that's not the best time to use it. So right here, when you ult, this is already a pretty lost fight because I just died because I got caught out, right? And that's on me, and that's my mistake. So we should basically just be running right now. So if you want to use your ult to clear the escape, that's fine as well. But there's not any targets you can really do anything at this point to. So I would say like walking forward a little bit, maybe to pressure this MF, because if you're level 11, and you're sitting on Stormrazor and Zeal with the Boots of Swiftness, okay, and she is level 12 and she's used her Yomus. So this is probably your best target right here. So let's go forward and see what happens. Maokai, she's totally isolated. Garrison's on this right now, so this is probably a kill on MF if you aren't looking at these sort of tankier people over here. At this point, obviously, you need to run. But if you had just walked up here to hit her, that might have been the best bet. It moves you away from the super threat of Hecarim. MF is not the huge threat at this point, so I don't think that would have made, like, that team fight's not lost because of you, but if you're looking to optimize positioning in that team fight, she kind of presented you with a broad target that you could have gone after. Alright, let's watch that one, because that's the next area of concern then. Okay, so walking up here for this, we have Maokai's knocked out. Get the stun onto her. And Hecarim comes at you almost immediately. That's a sneaky flash. Alright, we gotta watch that in slow motion to see really what's going on here. Okay. So, target selection. You do need to be worried about the Kassadin. Yes. Let's see when we see Hecarim appear. Right now? Oof. Yeah, there's not a lot of time to react to that. May have been prudent to flash over the wall to kill Illaoi. If you can, this right here is a really good friend of yours. So let's back that up one more time and see and talk about what might have happened. So as this Hecarim's coming in, he's going to damage you, but he's going to push you down here. Okay, so the best way to get away from Hecarim at this point is not to flash any. You need to get distance between you and a wall. So you probably want to walk up here, flash the wall, and hit Illaoi. You've got vision on her. And when you flash back this way, that's a great flash to dodge the Kassadin. He may have just killed you straight out there. But if you can get to where you can walk back and forth between these two sides, then you force them to try and wall hop over and over again. And so that gives you a lot more safety, this pathing does right here, than going back under the turret. It's, you know, turrets are kind of a joke, so they don't really provide a lot of safety now anyway. Hey, look, it's Mundo dying again. Who's surprised? So the game is relatively lost at this point. We are in a bad way. So let's talk about just in general what's gone on in like what went well and what was Nisi worked on. So what went really well? You had some really great stuns with your W. Your Jhin play is good. Areas to improve would be making sure you're aggressive enough with that fourth shot. Making sure you've identified targets that you want to actually look at. Let's pause this and turn that ambient volume down. So make sure you've identified targets that are that you can burst down, because you do have a lot of burst on MF. So even though it feels like maybe you're not the burstiest person of all time, you've got a lot of burst on their low health targets, so you can crush MF. So if she presents you with that target, go ahead and feel free to take her. One rotation, auto W, auto Q will probably kill her. So keep an eye out for that. Warding, make sure you've got deeper wards early on in the laning phase, if that is appropriate. And yeah, I think, and then in positioning in team fights, try to keep people between you and the Hecarim, and or between you and the threat, just as opposed to just moving away from the threat. And in base, feel free to use this to waffle back and forth. Overall, this is a game that we were actually, it felt like we were losing all the time, because when we got killed, especially when you got killed by Hecarim, it felt like there was nothing to do about it, and it was happening really quickly. Oh, let's watch this. This needs to be watched. We need to watch this fight. So this starts out, and Hecarim comes and insta-gives you right here. Okay, so the question becomes, what can you do about that, right? What do you do about that? Because you're walking in with 4th shot loaded up. It seems like you're good to go. So let's just check really quickly. Okay, so you're still sitting on yellow ward. Thing 1 would be sit on blue ward a lot earlier. Because if you can drop a ward right back over here, then we can see the Hecarim coming from maybe a little bit farther away. Thing 2 is look where your team is. You got Garrison right here, Mundo right here, or rather Pike, Mundo, and Poppy. And so if you walk right here, they've got their tanks right here, but Kassadin is up here. Do we have vision of him yet? No, we don't have vision of him. So we're missing vision of everyone that's a threat right now. So walking up right here without any vision of what could come from right here, you're very blind right here. So unless these two are close to dying, I think it's safer to wait where you are right now, or use this blasting cone to hop over here. Because if you were to use this blast cone to hop over, you can still land this W, right? But then you don't have this Hecarim coming to just insta-give you like that. And so that's a very, it's a difficult thing to predict and read, that Hecarim coming from nowhere right there. But if you're looking for where the threats are on the map, especially because you're our main damage source, then take that safer route, take that blast cone over, and keep more bodies between you and the potential threats. Because Hecarim would have to go through all of us right over here before he could actually do anything to you if he's coming from right there. He'd have to run through us all and then get to you. So take the blast cone over right there, bodies between you and the enemy. That's going to be the same thing that happens here again at the end. If we want to watch this fight up here. So, okay, this is another time. So we actually see them right here this time. But again, it's one of those, you're not looking at, I feel like you're not looking at where the threats are going to be coming from. So we did just kill the MF, right? And let's walk through here. But this is a dangerous spot for you to be in. Getting guarded by these two a little bit. We see the Hecarim coming. And let's see. Okay, so because Hecarim's coming, you're giving him a free shot right here, basically. So there's not really a good spot to go. I don't know where you could have gone there. This is a pretty badly lost fight in the first place. Let's see if there's a good place to go. So we see Hecarim coming. They're collapsing from here and here. Maybe up here. You're going to be vulnerable to the Kassadin. But Kassadin's looking to go in after Van. Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a good thing to do in this fight. I do think that moving away from your team is not the right move. It's tough though. They had a lot of people right there. That's a tough call to make. Because they were just kind of threats from every direction. I'm not sure that you had a good choice there. Maybe moving up here would have been the right call. Maybe waiting for Kassadin, staying right in here. And then if Kassadin jumps on you, you did have your flash up, so you could have moved over here. But if Kassadin jumps in on Van, then you could have had a spot to fight from right here, trying to keep bodies between you and Hecarim. But tough call either way. Overall, really hard game to play as Jhin, but you did do you did avoid that Hecarim correctly a couple of times, and so keeping that in mind, keeping bodies between you and the Hecarim, I think will be overall beneficial for you. So recap is in lane. Make sure you're watching your 4th shot and using that aggressively along with the move speed to get out. Make sure that your wards respond to who the jungler is. So if the jungler is somebody that can be really fast, don't ward here. Ward at this point right up here. Or that's probably the best spot for the AD carry to ward is right there. If you are in base and you're getting dove, don't rely on the protection of the tower. Look at this to jump back and forth, to waffle back and forth, especially if you've got vision, which is another reason why a pink is really good right there to deny vision inside the base. And then in later team fights, just try to keep as many bodies between you and the threat as possible. And if you're ulting, then make sure that it's the right time to ult as opposed to ulting just because you're not sure you can get close. Keep an eye out for people you can burst, like that MF with your full combo. Okay,